Somebody down in Texas was playing golf, and he rigged up his golf cart with a liquid nitrogen cylinder, something like a cylinder like that or bigger. And he put it on the back of his golf cart with his golf bag, and he had a special engine, and he took the gas from that was coming off of the liquid nitrogen, and he powered his golf cart with that. You could power an engine or something with just the vaporization of the conversion from liquid to a gas.
Yeah, would that be bad for the environment?
Why would it be bad for the environment? He just asked, would that be bad for the environment?
No.
You know, questions like that's a good question because it's a good question because there's a lot to that question. As far as that itself, taking the nitrogen and putting it in the air, what would that do to the air? I mean, air is mostly nitrogen anyway. So it just goes back to where it came from. That's what it's doing here right now. This oxygen and nitrogen came from the air before. Now it's sitting here boiling away and going right back where it came from. So it really doesn't bother anything there. But it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy to liquefy these gases, to liquefy air. And while I'm on that subject, people will ask, well, how do you make this? How do you get these products like this? And I work for a company that manufactures all these gases, and they liquefy air. The way it's done, just briefly, is you take air, you compress it. When you compress it, air gets hot. When you expand gases, they get cold. So what they do is they compress the air. When it gets hot, they take water and remove the heat from this compressed air. Then they run it through a heat exchanger into an air separation column and liquefy it in the column and use fractional distillation to separate the oxygen from the argon from the nitrogen. And then those gases come back out through those heat exchangers and are used to cool down the gases going in. One other thing they do is on the way into the distillation column, as I mentioned, when you expand a gas, it gets cold. Well, there's expansion engines, expansion turbines that are used to recover energy and to then make it cold enough to liquefy. And that's very roughly how you make liquid air. And when you make the liquid air, as liquid air, it's separated into the distillation column, and you separate it into all these components of air. And really, all of the components of air, most of them come from that kind of a process. The oxygen, nitrogen, argon for sure. Carbon dioxide doesn't come from air. But the neon, krypton, and xenon all come from air separation plants. Helium comes from natural gas. There are some natural gas wells that have 4 to 8% helium in them. So they extract the helium from natural gas. Helium is very, very expensive today. We used to sell a cylinder of helium for $40. Now we sell them for $140. They're just a lot more money. There's a very, very short supply worldwide. Anyway, okay, here we go with another good one here. If I can do this back here a little bit. Move this out here, and let's get some more liquid nitrogen. You can see we use a lot of this. Now, what do you think you're seeing when you watch this happen? Are you seeing nitrogen flowing around here, do you think? What do you think? Is that all nitrogen? I mean, it's all boiling and the nitrogen's coming off. Can you see that? Yeah. Or what is this fog you're seeing? That's just water. That's the water from the air around here. When it gets exposed to this cold nitrogen gas, It's below the dew point of the moisture that's in the air, and it dews out and makes this fog. So that's really what you're seeing, isn't the nitrogen you're seeing